Good evening. So did you have a good day today? Yeah? So for those of you who have been to Keynote before, how is that venue for you? You've not been there before? Well, I feel it's an upgrade, and many of you have told me so. So I feel very privileged and happy that we found this venue as a replacement in short notice. So it's my great pleasure to introduce Imogen Heap, who will be here with us in a minute. We've tried to invite Imogen for the past 2 years, in fact, so it's a real pleasure to finally have her to come here today. She's inspiring to us, and we hope that she will be inspiring to all of you for the artistic visions that she tried to create a technology, that she's creating a technology to make happen. And so she's going to talk about MI.MU. She's also active in many other ways, both as an artist and an entrepreneur. And she will be joined after the keynote by Tim Exile, who's here, for very special duo. I don't think you've played together in a long time, so it's going to be great. And Tim is also an artist turned entrepreneur, and he's going to play with his own creation, an app that he's going to release soon. So I have one last announcement to make. So after this session, we'll aim at finishing at 6:15 here, and then we are celebrating Women in Audio. If you're interested in attending and participating, please come and see someone from the staff. At 6:30, they will meet in a bar nearby. If you're not a woman, then you can explore London. So without further ado, I'd like you to join me in welcoming Imogen Heap.
Hello everyone, thank you Jean-Baptiste. It's really great to be here. It's a different crowd to the last crowd. I've just been on tour. In fact, I've just come off tour. It's been about a year on and off, and we've done about 60 cities. And in every city we went, we did a workshop with music makers and services around a different project, which I'm not going to talk about today, but it's called The Creative Passport. Maybe next year I'll be here talking about that. But for today, I'm really happy to share a bit of the journey about the MI.MU gloves and to explain a little bit the software as well that the guys have developed and the hardware. I'm also going to introduce Adam, who's going to come up in a bit while I do a little costume changeover. And then Tim's going to join us at the end. Tim is a huge inspiration to me. I adore Tim. The first time I ever came across Tim was at the Roundhouse in Camden, and my friend John Hopkins was doing a gig, and he was like, "Oh, you should come and see me play. This is a cool guy that he's doing some stuff with me. He's called Tim Exile. I think you'll like him." So I was like, "Oh," and I came in and I saw what Tim was doing live, and it just blew my mind, and I was instantly jealous of everything that he'd ever done, and just wanted to immerse myself into Tim's brain, and also tried to steal a lot of his ideas. So I actually asked him to come on tour with me, and which he did, and he just blew the crowds away. What really inspired me about him, because I come from this very kind of structured song-based world, very produced in the studio, hours of tweaking, the kind of the liberty that we have in the studio to do that. But then transporting that into the live environment always ends up sounding a bit just kind of lo-fi, 2-bit compared to this lush space in the studio. And I was constantly searching to get closer to that produced sound. And that's why when I saw what Tim did, I couldn't believe he could pull this sound together, improvising spontaneously, so fluidly, like he was kind of mainlining with his equipment. He was just kind of one thing, one beast. And I'd always felt very separate to my equipment. I felt like, here's the human, and here's the machine stuff over here, and it felt very, rigid, and not how I wanted to make music. So Tim inspired me to just get on and make the thing that you want to change. And after a few years, we kind of came off tour, and then I got back and I called up the only person I knew Well, I'm sure Tim could have done it, but Tim's quite busy. I called up the person I knew. It's a guy called Tom Mitchell. He's here today. He's at the stand, actually, tomorrow. He'll be there with Adam all day if you want to try out the gloves. And I just said, look, I want to make music with gloves. Can we figure out how we can get the sound, get my stuff that I use on stage in my hands? Because I don't want to be tied to this position anymore. I want to be moving around. Because I would go on stage and I'd have I can't remember what they're called now, like a combination of different MIDI triggers. It was a particular brand. Anyway, it was like a tap thing over here. There was something in a bowl of flowers over here. There was another thing over here. Just trying to mix it up a bit so I didn't always have to come back here to press record or press play or bring a loop in and out. Because I had sounds I had little wrist microphones here, but I couldn't record it here. So I had to kind of have a patch, a little pad by the drums and record the loops, or I'd be over here and record the strings, or I'd have to run back. So just this idea of being able to just catch the sound in the moment and record it right then and there. So Tom started to develop this early on with a pair of off-the-shelf optical gloves called the 5DT gloves, a German make, and with that he developed what was then a neural network. They're using something else called an SVR, I don't know, now to determine the postures. And with that, kind of created the first version of the gloves, which was posture recognition for, about nine different postures. And I've actually stuck with those postures 9 years on. So I'm going to show you what they are. Anyone can, have whatever. Oh, I realised. Oh, no, there it is. Yes. I'll tell you what, before I go into... Oh, I haven't got my screen. Oh, there we go. I'll just do a little thing. So this isn't... I'm going to do a little song or two, maybe. So right now I am just going to... I don't know where to start. There's so many things to say. I don't really plan my talks, you might have noticed. Okay, so for instance, I want to kind of... have a big, long reverb. You want to give me that? And maybe reverse that. Actually, that comes from Tim as well. Because Tim had this out where he had a nice big long reverb in Reactor, and then he had it reversing. So I've stolen that, incorporated it into my Ableton set. So basically, I've got a thing here which I use. If you look on my right hand, I'll slow it so you can... There. So I've got open hand, I've got fist, I've got puppet hand, I've got 1 finger point, 2 finger point, secret finger, which accesses the percentage of reverb. And then I've got my pinch as well, and I've got rock. And then when I do double rock, like that, that sets my north. Okay, so I'm just going to... So basically, so now I'm 100% reverb, and now I'm no reverb. And when I do this, I'm just reversing myself. So I'm just going to do a little trick that Tim does. I'll try and say A, D, C. That was terrible. Tim's really good at that. Okay, anyway. No, don't clap at that. That's his joke. Okay. So one of the guys on the team, Adam, he's amazing. In fact, he's basically our CEO now. We called him up in a mad panic around around a month before this big kind of streamed event. I've realised over time that unless I make a hard deadline, nothing ever gets done. That includes making songs or making software or whatever. So always try to have these hard deadlines. And so for this one, I wanted to get the gloves to the point where I could have software and the hardware ready to create and perform a song entirely with the gloves. Because I wanted to, just have everything here in my fingertips. And so to do that, we had to develop a whole lot of stuff. And initially, the patch was like this crazy max patch. It was insane. It had every single option you could possibly ever want in one page. And I lived in that page for about a month and was able to perform that song after it. But I can't perform it now because I just can't remember it. It was so difficult to do. But what we realised out of that was obviously we have to create this this interface that is much more user friendly and per song. And we have all kinds of different scenes and arrangement views, and it's really, really lovely now. So we did that, and Adam came in to develop the initial instrument mode. I don't know what to say. There's so many things to share. Don't even know if I've got instrument mode. I'll show you that in another one. So essentially, we have two gloves. We got your left and your right. Over here, you can. That's what I was going to do. I was going to show you Jellyfish. Adam Stark, developer of the Jellyfish. So the thing about a lot of software inside our laptops and etc. They're imagining you as being a machine. They're imagining you as being an on or an off or an up or a down, not this kind of beautiful, expressive thing that are human that we are. So he developed this thing called the Jellyfish, and basically, I'm just at the moment accessing it by going, my puppet hand like that. So I'll just puppet hand. I'm just kind of moving across the waveform. And when I do that, so if I was to go, ooh, ooh, so I'm just kind of moving around the waveform. And it's kind of going from left to right, hopefully. And then that's the volume. And then that's the record. Ooh, 1, 2, 3. And it's just a very simple thing. Lovely. It's not simple at all if he developed it. But I'll just try and find it here. But I mean, to me, it feels simple, which is nice. And here it is. So basically, with mapping in Ableton, I'm just accessing, the yaw of my left hand is kind of scrubbing across the waveform. And then I've got my gain, my grain length, I think. Can't remember how to do that now. Oh, with this one. And then, see, I don't even think about it anymore. I just do it. It feels so nice. I've forgotten what it looks like. So he developed that. And what's so nice about this is it's incorporated in pretty much every song I do. It's how I augment my voice when I'm playing live. And I never think about the software. I never think about the reverb. I never think about it. It's just become part of my way of performing. So if I'm, for instance, I'll just show you Glover again. So I've got buttons here as well. So when I press that button, the way I do it is I press my left button and it sets everything back to 0. This is set to a particular Ableton session, which has just got piano, reactor for my reverb, a general kind of delay just built in Ableton, and then also Jellyfish and some piano stuff, and also a little harmonizer. So la 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 la, you should be hearing. If it's in there. No, it's not. I'm really not very well rehearsed, sorry. Just come off a tour. Oh, also. Is it the left hand? Sorry. Hang on. Where did it go? Okay, it's a good thing this isn't live streaming. Oh, maybe I put it in the other one. Sorry, did it in the other session. Anyway, usually one finger point accesses my harmonizer, but I'll do that in another song. So it's just really nice because I can go like. Here's the day I hope would never come. Don't feed me violence. Just run with me through rows, speeding cars. It just feels very natural and nice. There are other songs as well where just by kind of moving forward and backwards, I'm changing the angle of my gloves. So actually, just simply moving forward and backwards actually creates an expression to play around with, rather than just pretending. Or not pretending, but just feeling in the moment, but you can also augment that sound, which is nice. So I was just going to show you a different song. I was going to show you Breathe In. Whoa. So maybe I'll quickly explain Glover, because maybe I can't remember if Adam's going to do that or not. But so we've got the gloves up here, left and right. You can choose whatever postures you want. So I don't have this 8th posture yet, but maybe I could just train it. So it's very simple. So I'm gonna make one called T finger. Okay. So that's my T finger. There we go. I've trained it, and now I haven't pressed save yet. So now I'm going to press save, and then I can recall that posture that I've just made, and then I just name it whatever I like. So I'm just going to call it T. And so now I've got T if I want to. So if I want to use T at any point to maybe make a ching sound or something like that, or a kettle boiling, I could just map that inside Ableton as triggering a sample, for example. So I'm going to show you some various different ways that I use Ableton. I love Ableton. It's really great. And Glover just makes it super easy to be able to kind of create my own expressions. And also I can save presets super easy. You know, I've got a few. I haven't actually done that much because I've only just built it in. I've got all kinds of little presets and users that have different presets, and it kind of shows you what requirements of software and hardware you might need, and you can just really quickly load them in as scenes or arrangements, and it's pretty cool. So it makes it very, very easy to just create your language. So, for example, I pretty much I'm contradicting myself all the time. I haven't got it in this one. Okay, anyway. So I'm going to talk you through. So, okay, over here we got, on the left-hand side, we've got my scenes. So in each scene, I can have exclusive, so that, you know, only when you're in that scene can you access these mappings. And when I come out of that scene, I might want to do something like this scene. Sorry. Which at the moment sets off a sample. So when I'm in here, I've got all these different mappings, and I can do all kinds of things like access drums. I can access my delay. So when I do that, I have a delay, and when my hand's in here, I don't have a delay. So that's just yaw. I've got pitch, yaw, and roll, and I've got accelerometer peaks as well that I'll use some drums in as well, and combinations of. And then you've also got zones like up, down, left, right, forwards, backwards. So any combination of that in your mappings of input and output. And you can have different inputs. So you see I've got a bolero there as well, which you might see later. So any OSC device can be inputted, and you can send OSC messages out as well. I mean, I'm predominantly using MIDI here. You can see all the little MIDI the little MIDI channels and stuff. But sometimes I do use OSC. Is there any OSC in here? Nope. There is in the reactor patch though. Where is it? Just to prove. Oh, I haven't got reactor in this one. Anyway, so yeah, you can set. It's super simple and nice, and I can quickly build a session together. So this session was originally built because I have a friend called Chris Halpin, who has become a friend. He's one of our early Glovers. He actually belongs to, he works with this foundation called the Drake Music Foundation, and it's kind of helping musicians with disabilities access different technological tools. And so they got a pair of MI.MU gloves, and he has just gone with them. He's amazing. He began kind of as a rock guitarist, I think was in a band, and then his condition of cerebral palsy just kind of got worse and worse, and he wasn't able to access the chords and have the dexterity that he was used to. So he's kind of created this incredible way to play electric guitar, but also augment it with these crazy fills and add harmonics and all kinds of things, but in combination with his gloves, and it's just so good to see. Anyway, one of his favourite songs is Breathe In, and this is a song that I wrote with Guy Sigsworth from Frou Frou. And so he was like, could we do a glove duo for his last tour? And I was like, okay. He said, can we do Breathe In? And I hadn't done it. And I hadn't really used the new version of Glover because I'd been so doing all these demos with the Me the Machine version. So I was a bit like, oh no, it's going to take me ages. And it just took me like half a day. And I haven't really changed it very much since. So he did all the drums and the bass, so I haven't got that here. And I did everything else. And so I'll just, show you a little bit about, maybe I'll play the whole song. Let's see how I go. So like I said, we've got these different scenes. So you'll see it flick between the different scenes. You can also change the colour of your gloves. So at the moment, you can see I've got an output mapping here. so these ones on the right are the output, input obviously, and then the patches between them. And then I can set my gloves to have different animations on the lights if I want different types of feedback, and they can revert back to their original state. You can also set buzzers for feedback too, so I often do that if I'm setting north, because the north, you're my north tonight, over here, and here's just relative, so it's not absolute position, it's relative. And so if I'm playing the piano over here with my grand piano, then that would be my north, and my effects would be to there. But it's very easy, so I do a double rock sign, because that's not something I accidentally do. And then I do it at the beginning of every song, and then it takes me into the next scene, which on this one is to record my vocals. And then once I've done that, I then build in the drums, and then once I've done that, I'm in a state basically where I can access anything at any time, because I've gone out of these exclusive scenes. So here, you've got always active, exclusive, or make a startup scene. And so when I'm here, I've got access to anything which looks like this kind of star. Well, you can't see it over there, it's probably too small. Anyway, so then I can access all kinds of different things, like my harmonizer, or my reverbs, or my delay. And yeah, so there's really loads of flexibility. Great, it's really so good. Okay, so I'll just do a little bit. Okay, so here you can see me right now. I'm recording my voice. So I've got my fist closed, and there she is. Okay, so there she is. So I'm going to put her over there, and when I put her over there, my gloves go yellow, and that basically says I'm not recording anymore. And now I might want to record some drums. So I'm going to pick up my drums. I'm going to pick up my drums, and then I'm going to. So I'm going to put my fist closed, and you can see me right now recording my voice. Don't ever do a live demo. If you're a musician. Okay. So I'm going to put my fist closed, and you can see me right now. I'm recording my voice. Okay. I'm going to put my fist closed. Okay. I've also got some hi-hats as well, and then when I do both hands up, which is kind of what feels natural once I've recorded my drums, I just go like that. And then I'm in my scene where now I can access everything, and I can tell myself to be quiet. It's quite nice. And at the chorus of this song, I go like this, because that's what feels good in the chorus. And my loops come back in, and that kind of swishy drum sample comes in. And that's just doing that because I'm triggering, in my MIDI. In fact, I'll show you the MIDI. I'll show you what the MIDI mapping looks like, because that's quite fun. So these are all my MIDI mappings. Yeah, but it doesn't take that long. I know it would be nice if you could copy and paste mappings between sessions, Ableton. Anyway, so that's what I'm doing, and that's why when things are moving around, that's how you know that. Anyway, so then I've got other samples that I might trigger. So when I do my 2-finger point like this, nothing's happening. But when I go up, I've muted my gloves to show you the mappings, because you don't accidentally want to put the gloves in mapping mode when the gloves are sending messages, because you haven't got that amount of undos. Okay, so now I've got my 2-finger point, and then so that brings in the sample. It just plays until it finishes. When I do my 1-finger point over there, in this scene, it sets off that sample. And when I do this, when I do double fist in this scene, I get this sound, which is really satisfying. I'll just do that again. It feels quite nice. Very nice. And then I can also access my drums again. Except it's gone again. Dear. Sometimes this router, I've got a new router. I wish I hadn't got the new router. Okay, there we go. Coming back. What else have I got on this one? Oh, so I've also got a loop here. So anytime I want, I can just loop myself. It's set to like 2-bar loop. That's my reverb still. My delay. And then I put it down there. I just go past the threshold. I go to down, basically, and it deletes the loop. And that's the volume. So I can do it again. And just the volume until it deletes it. What else have I got? Oh, I've got this. as well. It's quite good. If you want to scratch your nose. What else have we got? That's it, I think. So a combination of that, and that's how I'm going to attempt to sing the song. Even though I have to say I did celebrate quite a lot at the end of the tour, so not feeling my best right now. Okay, here we go. So yeah, it doesn't have the drums or the bass, but you have to imagine that. It goes da-dum, dum, da-dum, da-dum, da-dum. So just have that in your head while you listen to it. And I've got a cold. Okay, here we go. Oh, I've also got a click in my ear that has the key, so I can tell the key. Okay. Da-yum-da. But that was out of key. I'm just going to move that out of my face. Da. Da, da, da. Okay. Da-yum-da. Da-yum-da. Da-da-da. 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 Da-yum-da. So mean. Oh, dude. I'm sorry. Do you know what I might try and do? This is annoying. Man. Has any other demos gone wrong during this time? I just shouldn't have used this figure. Okay. I'm going to delete that loop. I did that by double wrist flick down. Okay, let's try again. I just don't think it likes me being far away from that one. I don't know where. Okay, I'm going to do my hi-hats. Oh, I'm going to bring up this sound. So I'm just using my pinch to do that. Spot on, chord shapes in it. Press that dissonance if you dare, and you breathe in it. Finesse that innocent from my party. I'm high enough from all the waiting to ride a wave on your inhale. Is this it? Is this it? Is this it? Is this it? now we're back and we're taking calls. Now what was the question? Band for quite a long time, so I'm used to the band coming in, playing the bass and the drums, and I'm not used to bringing in the drums anymore. So anyway, that's my excuse. Okay. And I'm high enough from all the way. I've got this one. And I'm wide awake on your inhaling. And I'm high enough from all the way. To ride a wave on your inhaling. 'Cause I love you, no. Can't help but love you, no. 'Cause I love you, no. Can't help but love you, whoa. That was an interesting moment. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Another thing that's really nice, because a lot of this, obviously Adam and Tom and Chagall and all the amazing people working on this, you know, actually Chagall is developing this also in front of the live audiences, because that's been the biggest challenge. Is, you know, a lot of things work, as you know, when you're at home or you're in your office and everything's working, and then you do a live demo and then everything goes wrong. So there's been some pretty intense gigs where I've been, you know, we've been in mid-development, and stuff's just been going really badly wrong. About, you know, 4 years ago, had some pretty intense ones. But, you know, for the last year, I've been touring entirely with the gloves, and I've had no issues apart from this stupid new router. So, yeah, that's what's been kind of fun and amazing about my fan base as well, is that they're kind of used to me developing things in the moment, and kind of showing new technology for the first time. So they're a very forgiving audience. Well, I think a lot of musicians feel like, oh, I can't possibly mess up on stage, I have to be absolutely perfect. But just a word of advice for anyone, the crowd love it when you mess up, they absolutely love it. In fact, I was kind of really hoping that I was going to have a mess up at the Roundhouse in Camden, which I did, thankfully. But it wasn't to do with the gloves or anything, it was to do with the bolero, which I might show later. So anyway, so one other great thing about this is that you can just simply load up, you know, a little few things. So I just then remotely, well, in Ableton, did a key mapping to the number 3, which loaded up my third arrangement here in Glover, because we can receive input from messages like that. And so it just loaded up my tiny human set, and at the same time it also sent a little applet script to tell Ableton not to save. So, you know, Apple Shift D or whatever would be the way to do that, without touching the keyboard. So just these little things that really, really help in performance, just to cut down the time between the song load up. And there's a lot of things that I do where I don't, you know, need all the samples and everything, where I'm just improvising. And there's a song I'll do later, which is kind of shows you that too. Right, I'm kind of blethering on quite a lot, aren't I? Okay. I just wanted to show you this because there's a song I wrote called Tiny Human, and I played this with the band, so you don't hear all of the band stuff. But in the background, we might hear, because the one that I just played just then isn't on a timeline. You probably noticed because I was kind of going in and out of. It's just completely free form, but I just have certain kind of modes where I can access things and certain others where I can't. Whereas this one is done to a timeline, so I've got, you know, tracks playing at the same time because I don't have the band, and so I will just. But it's really just to demonstrate how I use it with a keyboard. So I've got my right hand keytar effects, because I used to play this with a keytar. So basically, I'll show you. So basically, when I'm here, I've got something that's kind of unfiltered, and when I reach a certain threshold, then it starts to get a bit brighter. It starts to bring in another sound, and then when I get to about here, you hear the bass. So I'm kind of going, and up here I've got just a filter, cut off, and then I've also got I call this the arpeggiator. You can guess why. Inspired by Tim Exile, actually. Again, this is using a sound. I created a piece of software with a virtual instrument with Sonic Couture, who I love, and took a load of instruments from my studio and just kind of made this great little thing, so I can have all of my sounds that I would normally need about 20 hands to play at my fingertips on stage. Where is it? Anyway, it's called the Box of Tricks, and it's quite nice. Can't find it now. I wanted to show you because I'm proud of it. Is that it? No, that's Reactor. That's it. No, that's that. Harmonize, strings, drums. Is that it? No, can't find it. Anyway, never mind. It's just basically bringing in that thing. And when I move my hand around, it's kind of, that's the tubes. These are these things called boom whackers that I have at home, and that just goes into the glockenspiel. And I'm doing it by flicking my wrist on and off. So that goes on, oh, that's off, that's on. And then when I do my secret finger, I've got my reverbs again, and I'm just reversing everything there as well. And that's it, yeah, so I'll just show you what it's like. Oh, my tiny human, at 05 when you break me apart again. In the space-time continuum, it buckles and bends around your every twist and turn. I can barely remember life before you. You came crashing in on that day. Crazy, beautiful you. Blind me like the dawn after ashes fell upon pain. Crazy, bright, beautiful you. A miracle, a mystery, and one short stop away from joy to misery. Anyway, you get the idea. So I'm not going to say, yeah. So I'm actually, what I'm going to do, because I am going to do one song all the way through, kind of well, from start to finish without apologising. And it's going to be a song that maybe people have heard of mine. But before I do that, I'm going to invite Adam Stark onto the stage because I wanted him to give you a little insight into who else is using the gloves at the moment. Amazingly, Adam has kind of led the team to get us to the point of sale, which was never the plan at the beginning. It was just a passion project, just desperately wanted to make music on the fly, you know, have this freedom as a human rather than feeling like I'm kind of chained to the machine. And but now we kind of did a hack week in Music Tech Fest in Berlin about 5 or 6 years ago, and we all decided as a team that we really wanted this to be a thing because we had lots of people come in and try them even at that stage, and we just felt like we can't, you know, we've got to bring this to the market, and it's been incredibly hard, and I mean, so many hats off to the team for getting it to this this point, but we did actually manage to do our first sale, I think like, I don't know, 6 months ago or something. And so we got our first delivery coming up in about a week and a half, which is probably why the stand that MI.MU have is not exactly like all bells and whistles right now, because the guys have got some serious stuff to do this week. But yeah, you can try them tomorrow. Tom and Adam will be around for questions as well. So yeah, Adam Stark is going to come up. I'm going to just nip backstage and stick something on. Yeah, please give him a round of applause, because he's the most amazing human ever, wherever he is. Oh, there he is. Hello. Thank you. Okay. Go, do it.
Hello, can you hear me? Good. So yeah, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we're doing more widely, and so I'm going to just do a very quick kind of how do they work, which is just to cover these things. So we've got basically flex sensors, which are measuring the bend of the finger. So we've got 8 of those measuring your 5 fingers. We have MI.MU, which is measuring like the orientation of your wrist. So we have kind of roll, and we have pitch, and we have yaw. The communication is via Wi-Fi, so everything's kind of, and this is connects as a network device to a router. Then we have the button and the LED, which is basically the idea of this is to allow you to get away from the computer, so you're not stuck behind looking at the screen. This really tells you what's going on inside. And we also have so the palm basically is it's sweaty on stage basically. And then we have like lots of people use them with different instruments, so you can use them with piano or with guitar or all kinds of different things. So they're fingerless. You can change the batteries. That's good. The vibration motor, which gives you some haptic feedback. So this lets lets you get notifications about what's happening in the software, so you don't need to go and look at the screen. And so Imogen's talked about Glover a lot. I'll just sort of say just a couple of more expansive things. So I mean, kind of, Glover's basically a piece of software for composing your relationship between gesture on the one hand and sound on the other. And it started as this kind of piece of software for the gloves, but we're now expanding this to become a more general purpose piece of software for composition with gesture. And this is, we've been expanding this with a whole range of different gesture devices, and this is something we're going to be releasing sometime next year. It's going to be, I think, very exciting. And if we have this in beta. If people want to have a go, then do come and find us. We're going to be upstairs, tomorrow in most of the lunch breaks and around. This was the Max patch that Imogen was talking about. This is the nice. We've out the housing. So this basically, all of the options at once we had here. I thought I'd chuck that in for posterity. And this was also the gloves at the time were this enormous suit that needed to be put on by about 6 people. And then over time. So Imogen sort of mentioned this. So basically, we've gone through a lot of different iterations, and we've gone went through, as she said, to. Got a bit of a lag there. So we went to Berlin. This was the first time that we were really sort of showing people how to use the gloves and finding out what other people do aside from Imogen, because Imogen's got this fantastic array of things that she can do, but they're also specific to her. And then other people come along and their own personality is different in the way that they approach this object. And so we learned a huge amount in that process. And we ended up with this design in about 2014. And late sort of Christmas 2014, we had the first kind of 15 people come in, and they became our first kind of users, I guess. And they were incredibly difficult to make then. Everything was handmade and custom made per person. And what we've basically done since is over the past sort of 4 years or so, we've developed a manufacturing process for these. So it's been really difficult because developing electronic circuit that goes into textiles and is robust and you can send across the world and is when people sweat all over it on a stage, it doesn't short circuit and that kind of thing. It's been incredibly difficult, and we've been solving those problems one by one and dealing with other things, around performance, and really that question as well, what even is a way to compose music using gloves. And we've just been trying to tackle these problems one by one, and we've now got to the point where we now have this brand new design, and as Imogen mentioned, in May, we released sort of 75 pairs of these, and we're going to be shipping those at the end of this month. So these are now a thing that they're available, and we're super excited to do that because it's been really years of work. So yeah, at the moment, we have about 40 or so artists who are using the gloves around the world. They're using the old design, And so we're about to having 75 new people is really something really exciting to join them. But I'm going to just show you a couple of other people who are doing different things with the gloves, just to give you a bit of context. So this is Chagall. So she's actually part of our team, but she's as an artist, she's got her own entire ecosystem, I guess. And so as well as using the gloves for music, she also used them to control visual projections behind her. So I'm just going to show you a very quick video of that, I think. So that's Chagall. And we have Ralf Schmidt, who's based in Germany. He's using the gloves with 2 back-to-back grand pianos, and I think there's an augmented reality show as well, but I'm not too sure about that. But here's a quick video of what Ralph's doing. I'm not going to show this video, but it's on YouTube. But basically, we ended up giving the gloves to Ariana Grande, and it was quite a challenge because you've got all these teenagers filming on Facebook Live and Periscope and everything, and while you're trying to really performing in that environment, from a sort of wireless spectrum perspective, was a whole new level of difficult. But that's on YouTube, because I believe you're probably ready, Imogen, are you? Right,
Sorry,
ready.
Yes, I'm ready. I was just enjoying your talk.
All right.
Watching.
Okay, well, I'm going to finish up now. Okay, so yeah, welcome back, Imogen.
Okay, right. Thank you. You carry on. Thank you. Right, so I'm gonna sing you a song called Hide and Seek, and this is my famous song, and I've done it in many different versions. The most recent version, this version, is a kind of glove-tastic, in the moment, kind of freeform, inspired a little bit from. I made the music for the Harry Potter play over the last couple of years ago, and so this is the kind of a bit like the version that's in the Harry Potter play, and a bit like the original version, and not really anything like the Jason Derulo version. So at some point, we're going to be graced the stage with Tim Exile's going to come up and blow your minds, take this song to the next level. And we have not rehearsed this at all, so I have no idea what's going to happen. But that's the way he rolls, and I'm willing to go there with him. He's gonna kind of come in at some point. You'll probably notice when. And then, he's going to be. I'm actually going to ask you at some point what you're doing, because I want you to tell them what you're doing, because it's amazing, and I want to understand more. Actually, there's only 2 things that I've invested in outside of, and it wasn't even for money, it was just because I loved him, and I just want him to be successful in everything he does. So I did invest in Endless, which is this thing that he's going to use now. And another thing I invested in is Streamliner, and you should check out that. And it's not called, yes, it is called Streamliner still, sorry. Streamliner, anyway. This is amazing. This is going to change the way people make music. It's already changed the way I make music, and it's just at the very early beginnings. But I'm going to let the master do the work. Okay, meanwhile, I'm going to sing you this song, and we shall see what happens. Got it. Okay. Oh, and this is my Light Up Bolero, which hopefully... So when I sing, I've got a little thing here that Adam's made, which is just a sound analyzer, which sends signals in, and then the messages out gets sent to the Bolero. See if I can find my Bolero scene. Oh, I've also got another scene in here, which I can't show you, but at the Roundhouse show, I was moving lights around the stage with my gloves. It was amazing. I was literally moving, like, I was spinning around like this, and there was like 50 lights in the middle of the audience just going round and round. Just every time I moved, they moved. And, it's so good. Unfortunately, it's the last show of the tour, so I'll never get to do it again. Well, not until the next 4 years or whatever I tour again. Okay, anyway. There's also one here for a scene for D&B, because we had the D&B soundscape as well in some of the shows. So I was moving the sound around 360, which is also really awesome. So there's many different things, obviously, you can do with the glass. Okay, here we go. Let's see what I can do. Oh, I've got to go back to the beginning. Oh, and I'm changing the colour by just moving my arm up and down, basically. I'll show you the little light scene, because it's quite nice. Where is it? There, so you can see, so, just changing, I didn't have to sing when I did that, I don't know why I did. Anyway, I'm just moving, you can see I'm changing the colour by doing that and that, okay. Right, here we go. that's what we need. Well, of course you did. Oh, what you say? All that is all that we want. Well, of course you did. Oh, what you say? All that is what did she say? And some notes keep falling out your mouth. Mid-sweet talk, newspaper guidance. You speak now, feeling now, unbelieving. You don't care a bit, you don't care a bit. Hide and see. Hide and see. Hide and see. does he do that? Oh my goodness. Okay, Tim. You want some water? A mic. So I would love Tim to share what he is doing, because it's so amazing. I just love what you do, so please share. What is Endless?
So, well, I'll kind of pick up from where you left off. I'll pick off from where you've left up. Anyway, so yeah, originally I made this instrument called the Flow Machine in Reactor that Imi saw me come and play and then invited me on tour. So I've always been into. I think music is about doing. It's not about like consuming products. Although we do have lots of amazing products to consume, we consume them on Spotify every day, and they blow our minds. But it's very much like one-to-many broadcasting, and music's never been about that for me. It's always been about doing it. So I built this machine that would allow me to do it myself. And firstly, that machine was like 40 kilos and an absolute nightmare to take on tour. It was great as an instrument to play. But firstly, I wanted to make that accessible. So basically, Endless at its core is that, but on an iPhone. And so it's got the same kind of workflow that's all about improvisation. It's very quick to use. But the second thing was, like, music should be about people doing stuff together. So the way Endless works, and what I was doing just then, is each time I do something, I make a new riff. So I can make one riff, I can make a beat, or I could sample Imogen, and that is a riff. I can then take what I've done there, I can remix it with remix effects, loop it again, and that's another riff. I can layer something on top, and that's another riff, and so it goes. But these riffs actually happen in jams, and any number of us can be in a jam. We can be jamming together, and we're all getting each other's riffs. Obviously, there's a kind of practical limit to how many people that is really fun with. It's probably about 5 to 10. But we've, we launched our beta about 6 months ago now, and it is super fun just seeing people like. Imogen's been on there.
I've done it while I've been getting my groceries.
Well, yeah.
Literally in the shop, going talking into my microphone, and then into the phone, and going back, just listening to it on my headphones. Other people like turning it into reggae and all kinds of stuff. It's amazing.
It's really, it's really nuts. It's so exciting seeing the community come together. We've got some crazy people who spend like 8 hours a day on it. And you kind of jump into a jam, do something. You can either kind of like take over the jam and just sort of hog the mic and keep on making stuff yourself, or you sort of let go and then come back half an hour later, and you can sort of track back through all the riffs and see what people from all over the world have done. And we've got new bands that have formed on Endless, and actually I think before we actually managed to release our product, there'll be the first actual release on iTunes of a band who met on Endless, made their tracks on Endless live, improvising, then arranged it and released it on iTunes.
Exactly.
So yeah, we've got people from Kuwait, the US, UK, Canada, Germany, anyway, all over. It's very exciting.
Yeah. It is. I know, because I have a guitarist who had been on the tour with us, and he heard about Endless because I was like, this is amazing. And then he just took it off. He's been doing it for probably one of those 8-hour-a-day people when he should be hanging out with his family.
We know who these people are.
But yeah, he's GDPR. So inspired. He's met people that from all over the world, and is he one of those people doing that album, or because he's been talking about doing an album?
Yeah. Okay, so I hope I'm not like jinxing their or like preempting their press release, but anyway, they're called the Veltron Transmissions. There's a video on YouTube on our Endless channel of the Veltron Transmissions, one of their first shows, because we've been streaming live shows on Twitch. So you can actually see them jamming together from all over the world. Yeah. And they do also, I think one thing that's really interesting is they do this, it's not just built-in instruments on the app. Our kind of most enthusiastic users, they're plugging in, because we've got Ableton Link and everything, they're plugging in Ableton, they're plugging in like hardware drum machines, synths, mics, guitar.
Yeah, it's amazing. And also, it's just really nice just to not actually do anything, just listen. It's like this awesome, crazy, out-of-space radio channel that you can just... It's like a talking point that, at dinner, you can just have it on and just be like, oh, who was that? And just carry it. It's so amazing. Anyway, you'll discover it, and when you do, you'll be hooked. It's really great. So shall we do like another little bit of stuff? So
Yeah.
would you like to hear a little bit more jamming?
Right. I've cursed myself by unplugging my sound card from my phone, and of course, Endless never crashes because obviously we're still in beta. So hopefully it will still like me.
Should I link in?
Oh yeah, let me turn on my wireless. Is it going to find you? It's looking for you. Oh no, I'm on airplane mode. That's not going to find you, is it? Right.
Maybe somebody out there has a little melody or something we could begin with. What about that?
Yeah, this mic isn't playing. Can you sample the melody?
Well,
I
would
can only
just sing
sample
it.
your
I'll
mic
just sing
from
it.
here.
I'll sing it and play it. And
Okay.
You've got my mic. Have you got also this?
I've got your mic. I think, with a bit of luck, you should be able to. We could do the reversey game.
Oh, but you would win without a shadow of a doubt. This is good. There you go. You would win. Oh, but 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 you would win. Amazing, Tim. Thank you. Sorry, I'm trying to poke you. Thank you so much, Tim. Give it fire. Right. Yeah. I have nothing really more to say other than just thank you, because primarily I'm a musician, and everyone here is just doing amazing things, making beautiful things. That's just helping us, be our creative selves and takes us to new places. So thank you so much for all that you're doing, all the things that you're making. It just makes such a huge difference to us lot on the stage and us in the studio. So thank you, everyone, and it's been a really lovely day. I'll be back tomorrow, I think, for a little bit too. Thank you, everyone. Good night.